What a world, it is your boy DigiDread on the mic, and guys, it has been a while me cooking in the lab like Breaking Bad with our boy Ragnaloard. You know that brother has been on the glow up in EX6, he looks fantastic and I can't wait to get my hands on him. So with that being said, we kind of had a look at the existing cards and see what we can kind of cook, and I'm not gonna lie, this deck isn't tier 1, this deck ain't even tier 2, it is just mainly casual fun and all the good stuff. So if this is a video for you, then stick around and enjoy, and if you're new to the channel and like what you see, make sure you subscribe and turn the notification bell because I do videos on the reg. Rightio, let's go over to the eggs as standard. Solid 4 as we do, and is going to be the Black Zubamon. This is definitely pretty helpful in this deck because when you play Legend Arms by an effect, and took it under basically one of your mons on the field, then effectively you will gain a memory, which is very helpful because this deck can be very slow and memory efficiency is definitely a struggle, and that's what I'm hoping like EX6 is going to kind of sort out, is that memory efficiency. But I still have my doubts a little bit, but by far this is probably the most consistent egg that you're going to be wanting to have in this build, so 4 for sure. Going on to the rookies, going with a solid 12, and we're gonna have to talk about this Digimon because I feel like people are really underselling the promo Zubamon, because this card is very handy in what it can do and has a lot of scenarios of where its application can really help you successfully high roll and get the combos that you need. So Eva's on top of a black and red Digimon, which is fantastic. Cost of free, 1k DP. So on play, by placing this Digimon as one of your under your other Digimon's bottom Digivolution cards, reveal top 3 cards of your deck. Return the reveal cards in any order, either at the top or bottom of your deck, which is massively helpful in order for you to essentially stack your cards. This effectively can be pretty much like an Izzy a little bit. Izzy's good, but sometimes it's just very slow in terms of its application. Granted, it is a memory set, it does the job nice, but this can really help you just in order for you to essentially stack up the cards how you want to stack them. And then if it can get any better, then if you have a Digimon with Legend Arms, straight gain 2 memory, which is just beautiful. So effectively this is going to cost you 1 memory in order for you to essentially get a on-play searcher, and you can either stack at the top or bottom. So if the cards that you revealed ain't slapping, you just throw them to the bottom, and then that is all great. The thing that I dislike about Izzy is that you have to restack at the top. So I'm going to talk about Izzy further along when I go over my actual tamer choices, but I feel like this is just what the deck needed in order to stack, and I can very much see it being used in EX6 because its inheritable basically grants your stack raid, which is fantastic. With this as well, it can be placed under a black Digimon as well, which will also grant that raid there too. So its application can be very nifty right here. Obviously it already got kind of banned in the Galaxy Loop deck, but for Ragnaloard, really good promo. Then going on with the usual suspects, so we go in with the starter deck Zubamon. This is just great for that high roll potential as standard. It's an inheritable, it's absolutely freaking trash, it's so bad. It's just great for kind of knocking out floodgates, but realistically with this deck, it's how I've built this rendition is more tower, raising the back, get to your ultimate, and then do what you need to do to pop off. So us kind of utilizing that when attacking multiple times is just not going to happen. But this card is great because if you do reveal it, or you know, basically throw it down and trigger its on play, effectively you can tuck it and then you're able to play a 7 cost or lower Legend Arms Digimon, which is fantastic. It's great for the high roll, especially tag team up with obviously the promo. You can get that working quite efficiently, which is beautiful. Then its comrade is Ludamon, so do run that at a 2. So you're probably thinking it's very red focused, which I have my reasons for this, and that's obviously kind of leads up to the champions and then going on to the ultimates. But this is exactly the same, but its inheritable is definitely a lot more useful because it essentially grants your stack blocker, which is very helpful in order for us to kind of defend, because most of the decks that we face off in this format is pretty fast, so having the ability to block is very helpful. Then lastly, we do just run the 2 Ludamon from BT3. So this Ludamon is fantastic. It's a great searcher. Reveal 5, able to grab a Ragnalord and a card with Legendaries in its traits, which is just great. So pretty much going to search out majority of our line here. You're probably thinking why I'm running this a bit of a lower rate, and it's because mainly the speed of how these games are going right now. Because ideally we just kind of chill in the back. We want to be kind of setting up our board state in order for us to somewhat at least live a second turn if the opponent's kind of popping off. So we do have other cards that can obviously search out our pieces, but we just run simply the 2, because ideally what we want to be doing with these is essentially triggering off that high roll when we do get to our top end. Either we can clutch 2 memory if we manage to get this off of our mega, as well as this obviously enabling us to essentially play out more Digimon, whereas this is just a searcher. It throws the body out, but yeah. Ideally we do want to be, it's our pop-off turn that is probably going to make the massive impact, and that can somewhat slow us down when we are kind of popping off. So that concludes for the rookies. Going on to the champions. Champions, we do run 9 in this. So let's go over with some of the Digimon here. So Zubamon is really good because it's inheritable. It enables us to get an additional security attack once we're at our Ragnalord. Getting that aggression is really good because it means that when we do go into our top end, we can just do a lot of checks, being pretty much unaffected by security options and the opponent's Digimon when obviously past his turn. So it's really good that we do have that inheritable there if we manage to get to our level 7 in peace. Then we do run the Zubamon, the starter deck one. The reason why we do run this a little bit more is just because we do run a lot more red Digimon here. So the reason why we run a lot more red Digimon is because we want to keep that consistency going. We want to make sure that, like, realistically, if we open our hand and we've got rookie, champion, ultimate, then we are pretty much going smooth with our line as we want to. And obviously, hopefully those draws that we do get off of the going up our chain effectively will get us into our mega there as well. So, and then obviously with this we can essentially throw it out, and we do have the option to somewhat tuck there as well. And then if we do, we're able to delete a 5k or less Digimon, which does come up, not massively, but it does come up. Inheritable is exactly the same as the starter deck Zubamon, which is a little bit mid. It depends on how wide the opponent's gone with, Digimon at a 3k DP. It doesn't really come off that often. But then we do run the TL Ludamon. This is just really good because it does grant us that reboot, as well as the blocker inherit there too. So we have also 4 Digimon that can effectively grant us blocker if we do need to kind of throw it down and get our blocker on, well, get our reboot and also our blocker inheritable on our main stack if needs be. But that concludes there for the champions 9. Going on to then the ultimates, we do run a solid 8. So the one that we really want to be seeing in our starting hand along with our lower line is going to be the starter deck Zubamon. This is just great because it enables us to be a little bit more cost efficient when we kind of evo in, because it will reduce our Digivolution cost by 1 if we are going into a card with Legend Arms trait, which is really handy. And then that inheritable is also that DNA play that we all love to get to when playing this deck, for real. Then we do run the BT3 Zubamon, which once again, same inheritable as its previous evolution, and that enables us to get an additional security attack. Once again, when we are at our top end, we're just going for really big damage, really making a dent into their security. And then lastly, we do just run the 2 Raj and Ludamon. So you're probably thinking, why are you running that at a lower actually at a lower ratio in comparison to this? It is a fantastic card, but for what we wanted to do, we wanted to be punching for a lot of damage, and we're not necessarily going to be mainly focusing on our DNA play. We do run the BT3 Ragnalord, so having this inheritable definitely comes pretty nice, as well as obviously the champion that also has this, as well as, you know, we kind of can have that play if we happen to manage to get this played out by a card effect, which obviously just then gives us a nice little setup for a Mega Evolution, which is always handy. Also, its actual opponent's turn isn't that amazing in comparison to what we kind of see now. Like, realistically, what we want to be seeing is if this card was going to leave the area. That's the kind of protection that we like, whereas this Digimon can't be deleted by your opponent's effect, so it can essentially be DP minus, because that's a debuff in a sense. It's kind of reduced to 0, so from the gaming rules, it has to die. It can't just be like, oh, you've minus me to 0, but I'm not deleted. It is classed as a debuff. It can be bounced, which is unfortunate right there. It can be tucked. So its protection only protects me from essentially, you know, like a Gaia Force, or if Feralugon was kind of popping off in that sense. Anything that's going to delete me, that's when it only can protect me. So it's not as amazing as what we've kind of got in the EX6 format, but regardless, it does help the deck, and I don't really necessarily want to run what 4 of this, because I just feel like realistically I do want to see that because of its efficiency to reduce my Digivolution cost, which for our actual Mega lineup does help out a lot. So that concludes for the Ultimates. Now going on to the Megas. Alright, let's see what good. This is where it gets nice and spicy. So this is your main mon that you want to be seeing and kind of want to be going out with, and that is going to be Durandamon, which from the starter deck, absolutely glorious. Absolutely love the art on this. The reason why this is actually really nice is because it gives you that nice bit of aggression, gives you an additional security attack when a card is essentially tucked underneath this, which is great. An additional 3000 DP, which then makes it a 14,000 DP beat stick, which is always great, especially when you want to be going in and triggering off its one attacking effect, is that you can reveal top 3 cards, and then you're able to play 1 Legend Arms with a play cost of 7 or less, which is definitely what you want to be doing, because that's when you essentially start kind of getting your high roll potential. You obviously, if you do reveal a promo Zubamon, effectively you are further stacking your deck, you're playing that out for free, you're tucking it under, as well as then gaining 2 memory. That right there feels so good when that happens. It just really helps you kind of build that wide board whilst actually getting some aggression off doing 2 checks, which is hella sick. And then obviously if there wasn't any cards that were played from this effect, so it would have been really unlucky if you didn't actually reveal anything, and then place the rest at the bottom of the deck, which is absolutely fine. Obviously it's inevitable. Beautiful, your turn. While this Digimon is Ragnalord, it does not activate security effects on option cards it checks. So it does actually trigger Tamers still, but options, it's a no-go. It's an absolute no-go on that. So definitely a main playmaker right there. We do run the free Ragnaloardmon. So this is good. But if you do not have the starter deck ultimate, which reduces the cost, sometimes costing 4 isn't great. And most likely if you are even into it, you're passing turn. But if you manage to get into this and you reveal a promo Zubamon, you know, able to play that, tuck it underneath, stack your deck however you want it, and then gain 2 memory. Effectively, this is either going to cost you 2 or it's going to cost you 1 to evo into it, which is nice. Very high rolly, but it can happen. The thing I do like about it obviously is that when Digivolving get that surge, which just gives you a bit more options in terms of not you having to swing in and obviously at risk of your stack dying. And then you do get a lot of protections in terms of can't be deleted, can't be bounced, can't be tucked, and so forth. So really good Digimon right here, but realistically, if we do have that in our hand, we either want to be tucking it under our boy, which is going to be the BT3 Ragnalord, because this is just fantastic in terms of its application. You know, it costs us 3 to evo into it, but the good thing about this is that you do get additional security. You get the reboot, very helpful. And then it's when digivolving is that if you have a, basically, say if I evoed into this and then evoed into Ragnarok and I had that in my hand, I'll be able to tuck that underneath, or vice versa. I'm able to then gain free memory, which effectively means that this has cost me nothing to go into. Very, very nice right there. And then that's when you can start applying that aggression, because your inheritables have given you that additional security attack. And you've then got 2 inheritables that you can't trigger any options, and you can't be affected by your opponent's digimon effects. So very good in terms of its overall application, very memory efficient. I do like BT3 Ragnalord is a very powerful card. 13 DP there as well, which is okay, but the thing that this deck kind of misses is that actual DP increases, those buffs as inheritables, because most Digimon can swing pretty much over 14k. So even if you do have the blocker trait in source, sometimes they can just pretty much go over 14k. It's definitely not a problem out there, so you're kind of reluctant to block. But obviously we kind of got a little bit of source in regards to, if we do want to block, we've got some form of controls or disruption that we can do to the opponent. Then lastly, we'd still try to run the 2 DNA versions of Ragnarok. I do love the card and what it does. It's fantastic. The design is flawless. Getting into it though is a real pain in the boop. It's absolutely the struggle, but when you're there, it's great. But this is why we do lean more into the BT3, is because this is just more achievable to get off without being kind of reliant on having 2 stacks out and then manage to get the DNA off. But the thing that's good with this is that when digivolving, it just has blitz anyway, which is fine. So if you have to just evo on top of your main 1 stack into this, you still get the blitz off. Depending on obviously your inheritables, you can do quite a few checks here. You've got at least 3 checks in the bank if you manage to have the BT3 line. But when you do kind of have that when DNA effect there as well, that's when you have the essentially the board control. Depending on obviously how many sources you have, you pretty much can just pop, and then you are burning the opponent's security, whilst obviously doing heavy checks, and then unsuspending if a security card from each, basically a security card is removed from either yours or the opponent's, you will be able to unsuspend. That is once per turn. So effectively this means that it can be doing 2 checks on your, it can be doing 2 swings on your turn, because it'll swing, it'll check into the opponent's security, and I'll unsuspend and then swing again. So really good application of what this card does. It's just the journey getting there is so freaking difficult. It is unreal. The thing that we've got to, like, you know, respect is that 15,000 DP threshold. Obviously having the blocker inherit, it just really helps in order for you to kind of stay in the game. But the issue that I had when I was like testing this against Melga, and this Melga was like the main kind of test deck I had, because I feel like if I can't beat if I'm not fast enough to keep up with Melga, then I just the meta will just chew me up anyway. Like, even if I'm facing off against Fenrir, that will just chew my ass up. It can build a lot quicker than I can. It can do a lot more damage than I can. I literally have to see the line before I am popping off right there. Versus them, they pretty much can just blow you out the water. They've got way more consistency, and that's slack for most decks. Even versing this with Yellow Vaccine, even though Yellow Vaccine is sometimes can be a little bit slow in setting up, you'd think that this would kind of have some form of better speed advantage, but no. so with that being said, that's why this deck is very casual currently, until obviously we do get the EX6 support. But regardless, it is a fun deck, and I do like Ragnaloard. So concludes for the Megas. So let's go over to the options and Tamers. So I'm going to go for the Tamers first. So this is probably where it's going to shock a lot of people. I'm probably get some serious downvotes, but I'm going to explain my reasoning behind this. So the Tamers we simply use is just going to be 3 Analog Youth. Yes, and you're probably thinking, whoa, why are you not using Hero? Why are you not using Izzy, so my reason is that they are too slow, and the benefit isn't that amazing. So let's go over Izzy. So Izzy was my initial first choice in terms of, you know, it makes complete sense. I can stack my deck and so forth. I can have a memory setter, it works fine. The issue with Izzy is that it would have been better if Izzy could either stack to the bottom or top. The fact that you've got to just basically reveal 3, if they're all black, then you gain the memory. So effectively, Izzy's only cost you 3 to play out, which is value, mad value for a memory setter. Obviously, in this deck, we run a lot of red and we run black, so already at a disadvantage. We high rolling even further. Say if you play Izzy to somewhat want to unbrick or stack, and the cards that you reveal are absolutely no help to you, then Izzy, the only thing that Izzy has done is confirm that you've lost, because 3 turns of me drawing absolute trash if I've not got the right cards to get myself going has just lost me games, straight up. So that's the reason why I'm not a massive fan of Izzy. It makes logical sense, don't get me wrong, I'm not stupid to that, but in this game state currently, it is just too slow. Hero, once again, is a great card in terms of what it does. Once again, it does cost 4 to play, which can be a little bit wounding. Hero, in terms of its application, I have to be at level 5 in order to get the DP buff and obviously get that suspend and all the good stuff. After that, it's just a bit like, it's only just giving me a DP buff, which in this format, we are pretty much swinging over most things when we are climbing up to our mega and doing that big swing, like mostly 14s to 15 plus, well 15 being the maximum, which, like I say, swings over most stuff. It just doesn't help me unbrick or anything. Like, realistically, Analog Youth has quite a lot of application in terms of its efficiency. 1, it cost me 2 to reveal 3 and be able to just get a piece and trash the rest. That's fine. The games will not go long enough that I will need those cards that I revealed. 2, the all turns actually comes up. So because the way Ragnalord and the archetype works, obviously throwing down, you could high roll and play a level 5 out. And then you could basically high roll again and then get a, I don't know, you get out Zubamon from the starter deck. You're able to tuck him under the level 5 that you've just played, which then effectively makes his life, because if that Digimon is level 5 and got Digivolution sources and is deleted, then you're able to suspend this Digimon and gain a memory, which is very helpful. Obviously for us, we do have blocker inherits, which effectively, if we want to take a hit to the jaw and we die and the opponent is at, say, 1 memory and I have 2 of these animal use, I can steal turn and hatch an egg, which is great. I just feel like this has a bit more application and a cost efficiency in order for me to do what I need to do. And this, the fact that it's all turns, means that effectively, if I wanted to use a body that I have two or more sources underneath and it dies, I'll just basically trigger Animal Youth, gain X amount of memory, and then obviously execute any further plays. It seems to be working out a lot more better than when I played Izzy. Izzy was a freaking train wreck. Hero was alright, but cost efficiency, I felt like I played it and I felt like I was already behind, which just isn't the way in this format. You want to be when you play out a card, especially any form of Tamers, it needs to give you that instant value, which Analog Youth does. So that concludes for the Tamers. That's it. That is it. I'm trying to keep obviously the Tamer count low, because obviously when it comes to Ragnalord, the consistency lies in the amount of Legend Arms that you play, and basically to high roll and spawn out more more legendary arms Digimon. So going on to now the options. So 2 Crimson Blaze, because I mean we're gonna make sure our actual security is spicy. Like the issue that we have obviously with Wranglord is that basically our consistency lies on playing more Digimon, which makes complete sense. But that means that when you've got flipping Melga blown out your back, it's just like you just got no protection. Like they can just literally just keep swinging. They just keep swinging. Oh, look at that! Bumps into Ragnaloard in security. Not a problem. I'll just basically return to Digimon and I'll resume the freaking clapping. So Crimson Blaze just keeps the actual security a little bit more spicy, especially when it versus like wide decks as well. And when obviously I mentioned about, you know, Melga, you're like thinking, well, Melga's higher than 6 KDP. What that gonna do? We complement that bad boy with 2 Trident Gaias. Just complement that bad boy with some absolute hard deletion. And you wouldn't believe how many times that card has saved my ass. It's actually won me games. Because it was just insecurity. They was trying to go bang, 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 bang. And I was like, nah, Chief, Trident Gaia, my guy. And then if they're swinging for more than 13 KDP whilst actually triggering this off, they lose a security. Which would mean, you know, by the off chance, I could unsuspend my starter deck Ragnaloard if needs be. Which is just great right there. And then it's obviously security, be able to trigger its main. The good thing of just having this and us utilizing stacking cards and planning out how we want to, what cards we want to top deck and so forth, is that it gives me an option to be like, right, you've just got a big ass body on board, Trident Gaia, boom, and just get rid of that threat and they have to start again, which is nice. It is nice. Like I say, usually don't necessarily run any form of options in Ragnaloard, but realistically, if I want to even have a freaking chance in this format using this rogue, if you could call it rogue, it's absolutely on life support deck, then you've just gotta freaking adapt to make sure that you can have some form of spice that's gonna at least let them second guess and gives you enough time to restabilize. Then the other spicy tech is going to be Blue Card. Blue Card is a fantastic card right here because it can do a lot of things for certain scenarios. So this card can effectively just act as a searcher if needs be. You don't necessarily have to trigger the Digivolution. You can just reveal 5 and just add a card if you want to. If you've not got any cards that obviously can trigger the main effect. But the thing that is handy is that if you just have a Tamer out, you can basically play this card without meeting its requirements. But its main is that you can reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. Then you may digital to one of your Digimon into a non-white Digimon card from amongst them without paying its cost. If you don't, add one Digimon card amongst them to your hand and then place the remaining at the bottom of your deck. So a lot of application of what this card can do and a lot of nice little combos that we can kind of get popping, because effectively what we can be doing is using the promo Zubamon to somewhat play it out, cost you 1, cheekily reveals your top 3 cards. If you get, I don't know, a Ragnaloard BT, I don't know, starter deck, for example, it means that what then you can do is then play Blue Card, you reveal in top 5, you already know what you kind of got. If the other 2 cards that you revealed might be even more spicier, you've got then options in either to Evo up your line, go into your main boss monster, which effectively is going to reduce that cost down to 3 instead of them paying 6 if you do reveal the starter deck Ragnaloard, or if you reveal the BT3 one. Effectively, if you have the right Digivolution requirements in regards to gain that free memory, this effectively could cost you pretty much nothing and you've gained some mad value. This card, very spicy. It's in actual platform security, enables you to play a Tamer, so then you can just play Analog Youth right there. So it's almost like you're running 5 Tamers in essence if these are in your security, because then you obviously can just basically play them for free, which is glorious. Just adds that further high rolled, nice little searcher if needs be. Dig 5 is always nice, and it also acts as like a BT3 Ludamon, but just without having the body out in the field. I felt like this has definitely been situational, but been fun to use with the promo Zubamon. But guys, that concludes for the deck profile. Ragnaloardmon, like I say, it's fun. It's not going to get you some high places. I'm going to tell you that right now. So I'm not saying that this is absolutely the way that you should run it. But the thing that I just want to do with this deck is just kind of revisit it now that I feel like I'm a little bit better at deck building. I've got more of a bit of a testing setup, and I can really just kind of like just test, refine, test, refine. But let me know in the comments, guys, what you think, and I will catch you next one. That's your boy D Dread, off the mic.